Right, I got the subject is on K-pop profile episode 6. The last one I did was on Rain, so I figured why not do the next one after that on his proteges MBLAQ. So MBLAQ is probably they're still one of my favorite K-pop boy bands. So MBLAQ were made and formed by Asia's biggest star, well-renowned star, Rain. One of my favorite K-pop artists growing up too as a kid. So when I first heard that Rain was coming up with a boy group, I was very curious and interested as to see Rain's, I guess you can say, his role in being a manager and how could he play out, in mentoring, a next generation of stars. So I was very excited for this, especially since during the 2009, that was just the year of the K-pop girl groups taking over the scene. A lot of boy bands really didn't come out the year 2009. So when MBLAQ came out in October, they were hands down my favorite group, male group to come out that year, along with B2ST Beast, who came out around the same time as well. MBLAQ came out in October of 2009 with their very first mini album called Just Black. Yeah, Just Black. And the lead singles of that were Oh Yeah and Good Love. Good Love was a really nice, kind of like electric, feel-good hip-hop kind of like music. And then Oh Yeah, which was their first single that they promoted, I really liked a lot because in 2009, that was the year for me where there was just a lot of K-pop artists going overboard with the audio tune, voice effects, in their music. So for MBLAQ to come out with an album that had no audio tune sound to it whatsoever, all the tracks on their album were all analog. It was really refreshing, and they had good vocals. By not going in that direction, they had good vocals. And the song Oh Yeah it was really catchy. It was strong, and I like their style. Their style reminded me of a little bit like Rain. They looked like, what would Rain look like if he was to be an idol in this generation in K-pop? He would look like MBLAQ. So that was kind of cool. Just Black is my favorite album of MBLAQ, because to me that was the album that I think that really brought a lot of attention to these guys. So after we wrapped up promotions for that, going into 2010, early 2010, MBLAQ returned with a second mini album titled Why, and their lead single, named after the same album, Why. Another awesome song, and Why is my #1 all-time favorite MBLAQ song that they have ever made. Every other song that MBLAQ has come out with still does not replace the #1 spot for Why for me. Why is just a hard-hitting. I mean, when you hear the bass is just boom, 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 boom. It's catchy. Now, unlike their first mini album, they decided to go into the audio tune direction, which wasn't a bad thing. I thought this sounded good in audio tune. The song, it sounded good in audio tune. It was catchy. It was hard hitting. And it was actually said that Rain was actually, the song Why was actually his song that he was going to put, that he had made for himself to put on his album later that year, Back to the Basics, but he ended up instead giving the song to MBLAQ. So I thought that was pretty cool. MBLAQ ended up winning their first and only award until another day from that song Why. I think it was on Music Core or Music Countdown, but they only won one award from that song. After that, MBLAQ took a pretty lengthy break, not too long, and then they came back, I think, was it early 2011, I think it was. They came back with their first full-length album entitled Black Style, and the songs off this album were Stay, which I didn't really particularly care for, but I did love the song Cry. Cry was a really nice R&B ballad. It had like uh, the 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 instrumentals in the background. It kind of like had like these, I like to call them like raindrop sound effects in the back, which is very mellow and very soothing and nice. It was a really nice R&B track. Now, they didn't win any awards, surprisingly, off this album. The album did pretty well, if I can remember. It did pretty decent in sales. I mean, it didn't do poorly, but it did like outstandingly well. But it did okay in album sales. And I think, in my opinion, I think shortly after their first album, I think that's when MBLAQ's momentum kind of started to slide down a little bit downward. So after 2011, they take a break and they go into did some promotions in Japan. In Japan, I think to me, I think they've had more success in Japan than they had and still do have in Korea. Because in Japan, I think they love them a bit more, and part of it could be because of the Hallyu Wave and a lot of K-pop idols who are going to Japan are bigger than, well, Japanese singers, but still. They came back after their Japan promotions and came back, and I think it was in the summer of last year, with their third mini album, Mona Lisa. This was a completely different vibe and feel from their previous works. Mona Lisa song had a European flair to it, as well as an accordion sound being mainly played in the background. This is a nice album, a nice song. It was different from the other two because it was the European accordion kind of vibe feel to it. I would have thought for sure that this would have been their breakout album. I really believe this would have been MBLAQ's breakout album because during that year, a lot of people have kind of tip and tampered with the European type of flair sound, instrumental sounds. That's what I was looking for, instrumental sounds, and they've been successful. So I thought MBLAQ doing that, I thought they'd be successful as well. Unfortunately, again, they didn't win any awards off this album. Long story short, after that, MBLAQ came back early this year with their fourth and latest album to date, mini album to date, and that is 100% version with the song It's War. Now, me personally, I really don't particularly, the song It's War, it's nice, but to me, compared to some of their other lead singles from their past albums, It's War is overlooked, in my opinion, compared to their other tracks that they've made. Now, that's not saying it's a bad song. It's a nice song, but to me, it doesn't, I wouldn't put it on the list of MBLAQ's, like, greatest hits to me. But it's still a nice song, and they did win one other award off this song, maybe two. I think they maybe won one or two awards from this promotion of this album here, It's War. So, and like I said, it's kind of sad because the very first award they won was back in early 2010 with Y. They didn't win any other awards for their other two promotional albums they did throughout 2011 until you get to 2012, and they promoted for, almost 3 months, and they only won 2 awards out of those 3 months. Maybe, if not 2, another just 1. So, pretty sad for MBLAQ. And that's just it there. That was their latest promotional album that they made. So, all in all, I like MBLAQ, but I've always made the statement, I've always said that I think MBLAQ is an underrated group. I think the only reason why they probably still get the publicity that they do get is because of the connections and who they're connected to, and that being Rain. To me, I think MBLAQ, they really struggle a lot in finding their niche and finding their style. I've always said with MBLAQ that, not just with MBLAQ, just with every artist, it doesn't go in K-pop, but all type of style of music. When you're an artist and you're a musician, it's okay to temper and tamper into other, and want to kind of, temper and tamper and experiment and venture off into other styles of music. But I think that's only safe once you've made success in a certain genre or certain sound that suits you. Once you've made a certain success in your certain niche in a certain sound and genre of music, then should you go off and experiment in a different style or a different element in music? People may be a little bit more forgiving towards you if it's not that successful, if you aren't that great in a specific style of music, or it may be, people may also be, I would say, even likely it may also be more likely to be successful because you have such a strong foundation in one particular area of music. If you're someone who's fantastic in pop music, everything you lay out is pop, you're like, okay, well, now I did pop, I kind of want to experiment in some R&B, and you transition to R&B, you could be successful in that, and that'd be great, but then you could also not be successful in it, but at least you know your roots and what your core audience loves and your fan base is based off of your music is pop. So you end up going right back to pop and just keep feeding off the success of your pop style of music. And with MBLAQ, I felt like they've always struggled with finding their specific sound. To me, B2ST had far surpassed MBLAQ, and both of those groups came out around the same time, both in October. And to me, when both groups came out, MBLAQ I thought was ahead of B2ST. During the first, 6 to 8 months that both groups were out promoting. But shortly after that, Beast just now, they're like on the level of 2 p.m. now. Team Top and even BAP, which are a rookie group, I would say are above MBLAQ in terms of popularity. And I love MBLAQ. They're one of my favorite groups. But I just think they really struggle with every album, they struggle with a lot of elements. They've experimented with hip-hop, pop, rock, electric. It's like, I don't think MBLAQ has found their sound, and I think that's one of the things that's really kind of, I won't say killed them, but kind of really not put them in the position that you would expect MBLAQ to be at by now. MBLAQ's been out since 2009. It's been out for like almost pretty much 4 years now. I would expect them by now to be on par, on the same level of a 2 p.m. and a B2ST Beast, some of those kind of groups. But they're not. They're like in between, a 2 p.m. and a Team Top. They're like in between. So that's my thoughts on that. And then also too, you listen to a lot of MBLAQ songs, even though Rain produced their first 2 mini albums, and thereafter the MBLAQ members produced and made their own music and their own albums, still their music sounds like recycled songs of Rain. That's just my opinion. They're good songs that they've all made. The songs that Rain has made and the songs that the group members have made, they're all good songs, but even the songs that MBLAQ has written and composed themselves, it sounds similar to something that Rain would have made for them. So that's just my opinion there. But I like MBLAQ. I really hope I call them the unlucky idols because they really don't win a lot of awards. I mean, they've come out with 5 albums altogether, 4 mini albums, 1 full-length album, and they've only won 2 awards out of all those albums. I think that's a bit sad. Let me know what you guys think about MBLAQ. What's your favorite album, song? Do you agree with what the points I was making out about them not finding their niche and some of their songs kind of sound like a recycled songs of Rain? Let me know in your thoughts below. Subscribe. Peace.